Hello and welcome to Cooking in an Attic Deranged. Today we'll be making beef jerky. For this most amazing recipe, which I'll be making at home in the most unsafe ways possible, you will be needing the following. About a pound of beef brisket. Now you have to slice this beef brisket into thin slices. I'm going to show you one right here. Now to get the nicely sliced like this, you want to make sure that there's not going to be any fat anywhere around. To get this like this, what you need to do is ask your butcher to get you a nice big chunk of about 1.5 pounds. You stick it in the freezer for about an hour to 2 hours maximum, just so it can harden a little bit, and then with an electric knife, or a very good knife essentially, just cut into thin slices, making sure you work your way around the fat, because fat doesn't dry. Next, you'll also be needing the following. About a tablespoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, I use a nice little pepper mix, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. You'll also be needing about a teaspoon of fresh ginger, but you can go ahead and replace that with, about a teaspoon of powdered ground ginger, some honey, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of pineapple sauce, and some leftover Coca-Cola. Grab a Tupperware container. This is the one that kept my meat in the freezer. That's why it looks like I murdered somebody inside of it. In this, you're going to be throwing your soy sauce, your pineapple juice, a little bit of Coca-Cola, not much, about a tablespoon worth, a tablespoon of honey. Make it nice and hefty and tablespoony and such. Mix that up nicely. Throw in your brown sugar, throw in your spices, and throw in your ginger. And now you just mix this wonderful gunk. These are going to be sweet and savory pieces of beef jerky, and they're going to be absolutely delicious, I promise you. Okay, this looks quite nice. This is probably the point where you want to taste it, because if it doesn't taste good now, it won't taste good later. So, that's right. Okay. Just needs maybe perhaps a little bit of red pepper. Mix it up. That's the stuff. You essentially want to get that sweet, savory flavor kind of in the middle. Now that you're done, you get back down here. You take your biscuits and you simply drop them into your marinade. Now make sure that, when you stack quite a few, you kind of push them in. So as you can see, most of the meat's pretty good. There's still some pieces of fat around here and such, but those will manicure a little bit later. Generally, I've tried to keep it as thin as possible and as unfatty as possible. So let's go. You want to go piece by piece to make sure it all gathers nicely. And there you go. Now, most versions of beef jerky will go ahead and call for Worcestershire sauce, but I live in Spain, so the only Worcestershire sauce I get is Leon Parents, and it's very expensive, so we try to move away from that direction, go with something slightly more Asian. Optionally, you can also add about 1/2 capful of liquid smoke to go ahead and get that nice smoky flavor. There you go. Now all you need to do is seal it up. Now this unfortunately has that little annoying air button down here, so it doesn't seal very well. So I'm going to do the best I can, and then what I'm going to do is wrap this up in plastic film and stick it in the fridge. It's very important that no air comes in contact with it. I'm going to leave this for, say right now it's around 12:30 at night. I'm going to leave this until pretty much 6 p.m. tomorrow. Should be pretty good. Yeah, why not? 6 p.m. tomorrow. And then you go to the drying process, which I'll show you in, about 18 hours or so. See you soon. Oh my god, so it's totally been hours. Here we go. Now, what I actually did is this morning when I woke up to go to work, I went ahead and opened this, switched it all around, turned it all up, mixed it all up to make sure that the marinade would spread everywhere. It smelled absolutely wonderful. Now we move on to the drying technique. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open up all this crap. It may take a while if your system is as shitty as mine. You smell that? Isn't that great? Oh, I know you can't smell it. Mmm. Delicious. That is what's left of beef jerky, as unappetizing as it could possibly look. We're going to kind of combine a couple of methods. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this onto a rack, and then I'm going to be, putting it in there for about 8 hours inside the oven with a fan blowing right into it, keeping the oven at a very low temperature. So the first thing you want to do, you want to go ahead and take all this meat. It'll be quite squidgy, so you're not going to really like touching it, but you kind of have to. And you want to kind of lay it on a rack. I like to lay it on a rack like this first, so the juices can kind of drip out. Make sure that the pieces don't touch each other, so air will circulate just wonderfully around it. Now, they'll shrink, so that's not too much of a worry, but still, see? There you go. It's going to be quite delicious. Now, the thing is, you're going to want to stick this, using my method, you're going to want to stick this in the oven at a temperature of about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're going to want to point a small fan right into it. It's not that different from a combo of the box fan and food dehydrator. Now, most people will ask you to go ahead and maybe wipe it or towel pat or whatever the fuck it is to get all of the delicious marinade off. I think that's stupid. See, if you look down here, what I did is I essentially just put this on a rack and then put the rack on top of a large pan. So if there's any drippings, they'll drip right down, but I still don't want, to literally wipe it off. Got some leftovers? Bad idea. I like to keep this marinating for usually a little under 24 hours. It's just, if not, it gets a bit too flavorful, because that is a possibility with beef jerky. My average time is usually 16 to 18 hours, and I find that just perfect. If you've got some leftovers that you can't fit on your rack, get another fucking rack. I mean, really.
So I'm a fat ass and I ate all of the jerky, and unfortunately it's the only piece I have left. It doesn't look appetizing, but when has beef jerky ever looked appetizing? But I assure you it's quite delicious. Are you sure?